Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are back on another episode. My name is Kyle King, seven-time published author, CEO, and founder of The Writer's Game, where we help high-level executives, entrepreneurs, and professionals just like yourself write, publish, launch, and market their books so that we can be able to ultimately help them magnify their voices and monetize their message. Tonight, we're talking about something powerful. And for over the next 4 weeks, we're going to be walking through steps on how to write your book in 30 days. Okay. For the next 4 weeks, we're going to be talking about how to write your book in the next 30 days. So I want you to stay along with us, watch every single live. If this is your first live, if you haven't seen any of the videos left yet, go back and watch some of the other ones as well. But tonight is part one of a 4-part series. Got this idea last week and we're going to be going with it. All right. So I'm featuring my newest book, The Writer's Game, The Business Behind Your Story. So if you see me looking left or looking right, I'm looking at my notes on my right and I'm looking at the book on my left, because a lot of the concepts that we're going to be talking about are literally in this book. This book is available now as a pre-launch, but if you want to join the wait list, for the book, The Writer's Game, The Business Behind Your Story, as a part of the pre-launch, you can click on the link. We're going to put it in the comment section, but here's the join the waitlist. So you go to www.thewritersgame.com/join the waitlist, and it's going to be able to pull up in a pretty page that my team developed literally right before this call. But I want to be able to talk to you about something specific tonight. So, you know, in this process of writing a book, I believe it, I'm biased, but I believe it's super important. And I'm going to go to page 1 in my book. And what I talk about at the beginning of my book is the importance of why you should even write a book. And for me, I always ask the question, if you lost your voice today, what have you built that can be able to speak for you? I mean, that thing that you give advice to people with, that thing that you crack jokes with, that thing that you educate or you inspire or you motivate with, that thing that you tell people different stories or experiences and all of these different things. I think we have all of these concepts of passing down generational wealth and preparing our families and all of these different things. But the best way to prepare your family is not to just leave them money, not to just leave them real estate, not to just leave them assets, but to leave them information and a blueprint on how you could be able to move forward, how you navigated those challenges, how you built your career, how you bounced back after the breakup, how you got that corporate position, how you turned your life around after that tragedy or that trauma or that circumstance that had you down and out. It's important to be able to write your story because your story can be someone else's survival guide. The things that we have done, the things that we have overcame, the barriers that we have crossed, the hurdles that we have leaped over, someone else is dealing with those things and experiencing the challenges right now in this present moment. And it's important for you to be humble, to be grateful for the things that you were able to do to get through your story and or that circumstance, and is all a part of your story, and be able to go back and give back and use your story as a tool to unlock the hearts, be able to inspire the minds, and be able to uplift communities. All right. So that's, in a nutshell, that is, in my opinion, why I believe it's super important to be able to write that story, write that book, because it's your legacy. Yes, we can talk about business opportunities and speaking engagements and all of the things from a financial sense on why we should write books. But if you lost your voice today, if I lost my voice today, I have written 7 books where my son can be able to go back and literally see the blueprint on how to navigate these situations and how to be able to bounce back from these times and these challenges. All right. So let's get to it. So, at the beginning of the book, I talk about a series of 6 questions that I'm going to cover with you all tonight. And then we're going to get into 2 major topics as a part of part 1 to be able to how to write your book in 30 days. All right. Part 1 is all about the first step. So I want you to get your notes out. If you have questions, I'm going to have the comment feature up. You can comment, you can ask questions, you can give a testimonial. You can pretty much share anything that you need to share as long as it's positive, of course. I want to be able to help navigate that space, but also we're going to be going off of the content in my newest book, The Writer's Game, The Business Behind Your Story. So let's get to it. So question number 1, why do you want to write a book? Again, what I wrote here is in short, what is the true purpose and intention behind wanting to write your book? That's a question that I want you to write down. When you think about why you actually are going off and writing your book. Now we're going to talk about this in determining goals and intentions and setting, intentions, but I want you to ask yourself, why do you want to write a book? Okay? I think a lot of times we have a purpose on why we want to write it. We have something that we want to share. We have something that we've been through. We have probably someone that said we have a story to tell. I want you to write down that reason, because sometimes those reasons can be able to give you the purpose that you need when it gets challenging, when you have writer's block, when you have self-limiting beliefs, when you don't know how to structure your chapters, when you're not necessarily making money as an author initially at the launch, all of these different things. I want you to remember that purpose. I heard a quote when I was, and it's literally on my phone now. I heard a quote, and I keep it as a daily reminder, and it's always in front of me. It says, "Your faith must be the prototype for your family." I was at a men's huddle a few weeks ago, and when he said that, it spoke truly into me, and I wanted to be able to put it on my phone as a daily reminder. When you're writing your book, what I want you to do is I want you to remember why you're actually writing your book, so that you could be able to, whatever challenge comes up, whatever barrier comes up, that can be the baseline and the power for you to be successful through this process. All right. So number 2 question that I want you to ask yourself is, who is going to benefit from reading this book? What I said, as you think through the goal of your book, for that goal to be achieved, who is the person that will be transformed by you reading? Let me tell you something. Your book is not about you. And it's challenging to understand that sometimes, but my books that I've written, I promise, are not just about me. They're not just me just feeling the need to share my story. This book was literally frequently asked questions that I've gotten, things that I experienced with clients, good, bad, and indifferent, and all of the things that I recognize people needed as a part of their process so that I can be able to serve other people. So when you think about that question, who is going to benefit from reading this book? I want you to keep your reader in mind, keep your audience in mind, and ask yourself, okay, that person's going to benefit. And then I want you to, question number 3 is, what is the future goal of this book once it is published? Okay. So a question that I like to always ask people, if everything was absolutely perfect, if you launched your book and everything was absolutely perfect, where would you want your book to take you? And where would you want your book to take your family? If you're a professional on this call tonight, where would you want this book to take your business? Would you want it to scale your company or help you get on speaking circuits? Would you want this book to be able to generate enough revenue for you to buy a house or buy a building? Would you want this book to replace your salary? Whatever it is that you would want your book to do, I want you to write down your future goal from that book. Do you desire to increase your revenue, publicly speak, run for office, or have specific aspirations that the book can help you achieve? It's literally right here. Okay. So next question. What is the, and again, if you're just hopping on, these are questions that I want you guys to ask, kind of just to set your foundation, just to kind of get you ready and oiled up before we get into the car, before the car starts driving. All right. The fourth question is, what is the current pain that your ideal audience or your ideal reader is experiencing? So when you think about your reader, because again, your book is for them, what are they going through? What are some challenges that they're having? You know, one of my mentors always says that our greatest challenge or our greatest frustration oftentimes can be the thing that we were called to go solve. When you think about the challenges that your reader is experiencing, your book can serve as the medicine to be able to help them with those symptoms that they're experiencing in their lives. All right. So maybe you're an expert in financial literacy. Maybe you're an expert in the educational system. Maybe you're an expert in process improvement. Maybe you're an expert in design thinking. Whatever it is that you're an expert in, or whatever you've experienced that kind of gives you the results to be able to go teach on, I want you to think about those things so that you could be able to implement those strategies in your book to be able to teach your audience as well. Question number 5, let's get to it. What is the transformative process that you'll take your reader through in the chapters of your book? So your reader has this pain. They're going through something. You want to be able to get to this goal. You want to be able to benefit them. But what's the process that you're going to take them through so that they can be able to achieve the goals that they have set as well? And again, I promise we're going to get into this in the call, because I have 2 major points: is determining our goals and then be able to review your avatar. That's what we're covering tonight. But I just want you to consider these questions at the beginning before you start the process of writing and typing and structuring and titling and all of these different things. All right. Question number 6, which is, in my opinion, the most important question. After someone completes your book, what will they be able to accomplish next? All right. So, what is the overall impact? And again, if you have questions for me, you can put them in the comment section throughout the call. If you have comments, you can put them in the comment section throughout the call. And I promise I'll get to every single one of them this evening. But when you think about that last question that I want you to consider as you're writing your book, as you're conceptualizing your book, after someone completes your book, what will they be able to go off and accomplish? What will you help them do next? Okay. They'll be able to have the confidence to do this. They'll be able to have the finances to do this. They'll be able to have the methodology or the strategies to go off and do this. All right. So now we're getting into it. In chapter 1 of my book, I talk about, which is the most important step as this process. And we're going to get into step 1. All right. Step 1 as a part of this 4-week series of how to write your book in 30 days. I want you to write this down. Determine your goals and your overall objectives. Determine your goals. Somebody put determine, or just a D. Just put a D, because my spelling can be crazy sometimes. Put a D in the comment section if you are going to be determined. All right. If you're going to be determined, I want you to put a D. But as a part of us determining what our goals and our overall outcomes are, one of the first quotes that I have at the beginning of my book by George Acheampong is, everyone has big, audacious goals, but few properly put together an execution plan. It is hard, nearly impossible, to meet something you failed to measure. A lot of us want to do all of these big things, but we're not willing to create measurables that will allow us to actually understand and know when we've achieved that goal. Okay. So when you think about your goals as a part of writing your book that I've talked about, there's 2 types of goals that I want you to consider. There's impact related goals. I call that from the heart. And then income related goals, I call that from the head. All right. And I say that because impact is about where your heart is. Where am I making a difference? What are the type of people that I want to be able to impact in regards to that's going to make me feel good? What's going to make me feel joyful? When you think about the impact related goals, there's a few set of questions that I want you to be able to consider tonight. Where do you want to make a difference? Who do you want to be a hero for? What major problems do you want your book to solve? How many people do you want to touch your book within the first year of the book being published? These are impact related goals. What type of impact? What type of ripples do you want to be able to create from your book? How wide do you want to be able to take your book from an impact perspective? So somebody put impact in the comment section. What type of impact do you want to have in regards to your book? That's the first set of things that we need to consider. Again, this is before the book title. This is before the book description. Those are the things that are, at the end of the day, there's X's and O's. There's literally templates to be able to create those things. But a lot of people neglect this step, and they're writing amazing content. They're marketing it, and they're wondering why it's not selling, because the goals weren't clear, the content wasn't aligned, and the audience was wrong. So now they're not able to have the success that they truly do deserve as a part of this process. Okay. So once we understand our impact related goals, where we're making a difference, who do we want to be a hero for? A question that I like people to ask themselves is, look, if you were getting ready to pass away, God willing, that doesn't happen to anybody on this call tonight. But if it was your time and you had 30 minutes to live, and God came to you and he was like, look, you have only a specific type of person that you're going to be speaking to. You got 30 minutes. You have a presentation that you get one presentation for 30 minutes. What would you want to talk about? And who are the people that you would actually want in that room? Would it be single moms? Would it be, single fathers? Would it be incarcerated youth? Who would it be? Okay. And that's when we understand the impact. Who do you want to be a hero for? How can we change those people's lives? And I want you to think about that person. Then once we identify that person, now we focus on our our income related goals. That comes after the impact. It's literally in order. So now I want you to think about your income related goals. When I think about my income related goals, so for me, I was an anomaly. When I launched my first book, I generated 20 grand within the first 30 days. It was, It was something that I probably couldn't duplicate in that way back then, because there's, there's systems, there's different ways, there's much clearer strategies that I use now. So the marketing process is much better. But back then it was simply guerrilla marketing, reaching out to a whole bunch of people, leveraging friends and family, leveraging influencers that I knew at the time. And it's not something that I did back then that I would recommend to the type of clientele that we work with today, or recommend to you as well, because it was exhausting and it took me years to be able to reproduce that type of success, because it wasn't intentional. Okay. So, but when you think about your income related goals, I want you to think about this. What do you want this book to do for you on a monthly basis financially? Okay. What goals are you trying to achieve within the next 12 to 24 months? And I want you to quantify what number you would need in regards to revenue and financial capital, and how can your book allow you to be able to do that? Another question that we have right here is, what rooms do you want your book to allow you to get into? Right? So let's say you're writing a book on foreign policy, and now you're the author of this amazing book that's helping policymakers understand foreign policy in a sense. Well, this may put you in the room with politicians and senators and congressmen and governors. Now you're rubbing shoulders and shaking hands with these type of individuals. Maybe that's what you want. So when you think about truly what you want, and this is this is a little bit worldly and materialistic, I want you to really think about what you really want. Who are the types of people that you would want to be around? What are the type of things or the type of lifestyle that you want to be able to live? What are the things that you would want to be able to do in your professional or even your personal career? And how can you leverage a book to be able to do those different things? Another question, how will you use this book to accomplish certain personal aspirations regarding building wealth? All right. So buying a house, paying off debt, having money put away for investments. Once we understand these things, and I'm just going to sit here for a second. If you don't understand the impact that your book is trying to make, or is, has the opportunity to making, it's going to be really challenging for you to be able to create revenue opportunities from that. You could literally have a book that is in a school system that you just want to be able to help students. There is a possibility that school districts can buy that in bulk in $1,000 or 1,000 book increments. And now you're making $20,000 every single. I'm gonna mute it really quickly. It's always something, dogs, right? So what I want you guys to understand, Carter, can you shut my door, Carter? What I want you guys to understand is, hold on. Thank you, buddy. Anybody understands if you're a dog owner? Anybody understands if you're a dog owner? So here we go. So what I want you guys to understand is there's impact related goals and there's income related goals. But I want you to understand how you can turn your book's income into opportunities to be able to impact, because it's not one or the other. There's an opportunity to be able to do both consistently over a consistent basis, over a consistent period of time. It's like, hey, I want to be able, the example I was using is, hey, I want to be able to help students. I want to be able to help this type of person. Well, how can I create revenue opportunities with doing so? Okay. So these are the things that I want you to be able to think about on a daily basis, every single day. Okay. And excuse the interruption. I'm sorry about that, guys. So once we understand our income related goals and our impact related goals, there's an implementation strategy that I want you guys to be able to leverage tonight. All right. I want you to describe where your person is. Where is my person? Okay. Where is this audience? Remember that question that I asked earlier. Where is my audience? Where do they want to go? Where does this audience member want to be able to go? And then how can this book be able to allow them to get there? And then I want you to think about it from you as the individual author that you're getting ready to become. Describe where you are in your process and what you truly want. Describe where you want to go, the rooms that you want to be in as well, and describe how your book can be able to allow you to get there on a consistent basis. All right. Because if we can think about these different questions just from our impact related goals, then we'll be able to understand how we can be able to turn this book into an actual product. All right. So let's keep going. So once we understand, again, our impact related goals and our income related goals, and if you're still with me, put like an emoji in the chat, because my dog completely threw me off tonight. All right. He completely threw me off tonight, but we're good. We're still rolling. So if you can Put something in the chat. Just give me some energy. Give me some energy. Give me some energy. Put something in the chat. But when we think about our income related goals, when we think about those 6 questions that we asked earlier, when we think about our impact related goals, now we understand step number 2 as a part of this 4-week series. Step number 2 is to review our target audience. Review our target audience. All right. I want you to write that down. Put target audience. Somebody put audience or avatar or something in the chat. Put avatar. Hopefully you guys are taking notes. Hopefully you guys are taking notes, because I know there's some people on here that's just watching or probably are still cooking or something. But I want you to put avatar in the chat. What I talk about right here, the first quote that I have here is that the riches are in the niches, but the fortune is in the follow-up. The fortune is in the follow-up. Okay. The fortune is in the follow-up. What I mean by that, and that's by Pat Flynn. What I mean by that, the more that you're able to niche down, the higher ability, or the better ability you will have to be able to create success. And what I mean by that, when you think about a general practitioner, a family physician, and this is no shade to any family physician because they went through the medical process, there are certain things that you would not go to a family physician for. You're not going to go to a family physician if you have, heart problems. Where are they going to send you? To a specialty doctor. Certain insurance companies won't cover the full cost of these specialty doctors because they're the specialists. And if you have specific type of needs that you need from a medical perspective, then you're going to go to a specific type of person that can be able to help you get cured or get healed or have specific strategies in that area. When you think about your book and when you think about your avatar, right? When you think about your avatar, they have a specific need based upon your expertise. They have a specific need that they need attention. They need medical diagnosis for. That's where you come in, and you are not the general practitioner, but you are the specialist. You are the surgeon that's going to allow your story, your experiences, your education, your professional or your personal knowledge, and you're going to be able to help them navigate that process. All right. So what I wrote down here is that Jim Rohn said, you can have the greatest product on earth, but if you're trying to sell to the wrong person, you will never hit your sales goals and your metrics. All right. So here's a few questions that I want you guys to consider. What knowledge have I gained or experiences do I have that I can write about to teach or inform other people? Okay. What knowledge have I gained or experiences have I lived in my life that I can go off and teach about? All right. Another question. What do I naturally like to talk about within, and it doesn't really take you much preparation. It doesn't take you much studying. It doesn't take you much research. Like, you can just naturally talk about it. I think this process of writing a book, because I've obviously been through it over and over again, I can naturally talk about it. Fatherhood, I can naturally talk about that. Relationships, right? Because all of us probably can talk about relationships because we've been in them, we've been out of them, and we can understand them. But when we think about it, what are things that you naturally enjoy talking about? What are some niches that people come to you for advice about? What are things that people lean on you for? When you think about your audience, I break it down into 5 components. Okay? So hopefully you're following me. 5 components. You have your sources of information. You have your demographic information. You have your desires and wants. You have your challenges and pain points, and the objections and frequently asked questions. Okay? Okay. So I want you to think about those 5 components, but I'm going to say one thing before we get to there. What I want everybody to do, once you've written down your impact and income related goals, what I want you to then do, the next step, is to create a character. If your ideal audience member that you want to be a hero for, that you want to make a difference in their life, if they are getting featured in a movie, all right, and you were going to watch them on the big screen, I want you to really communicate who they are. What are they hearing from other people? What is the setting? How are they living? What is essential to this reader? How do they act? What frustrates them? All of these different things. Write down, you can go a paragraph. Susan is a 58-year-old white woman that is recently divorced, and she's recently divorced to a man that didn't appreciate her. Susan gave up her career to be able to support this man, and he went off and built this successful career. And even though that Susan has left and, you know, with the financial means to be able to go off and live this life, Susan battles with understanding who she is, because she's given so much to this man over the last 20 years that she was married. She's an empty nester, and her kids are, you know, all out of, you know, the house, and, you know, all, you know, she's a grandmother as well. Susan is struggling with identity, because she's put her identity so much into being a mom and a wife and a support system, that Susan doesn't know where to go. But Susan really desires to learn more about life. I'm going to stop there. What does Susan need? What does Susan need? See, the more that we understand our market, the more that we understand Susan, the better that we can write a book to be able to speak to where she is, who she is, and where she needs to go. Now it's about, all right, I need to write a book about identity for 50 to 60-year-old women that are dealing with this. And then, all right, so what are these women dealing with? What frustrates them? So now you're able to pour your experiences into this woman, or give her specific strategies that she can use to be able to help her navigate through the time that she's in, to be able to help her get over the hump of what she's experiencing. All right. So what I want you to do is I want you to create a character. This may take some time. And just how I did it off of the bat, trust me, I give new names, and you have to be imaginative with this process as well, and really be able to think through your person. If you were directing this movie, if you were writing this fiction novel as a part of this nonfiction book or fiction book, I want you to really think through this character and be able to paint that picture with your words. All right. So then once we do that, now we're going to sources of information. Where do your audience get their information from? What gurus are they learning from? What people are they learning from? You know, what things are they reading? Where are they getting their information? Is it magazines? Is it Instagram? Is it social media? Is it LinkedIn? Is it TikTok? Where's your audience getting their information from? Then once we understand demographic information, I said 58-year-old divorced heterosexual woman that is an empty nester, all of these different things, right? Categorized her as these things because Susan may need something completely different than a 24-year-old Asian male that is homosexual, right? They may experience the same things, but how you communicate the message may be completely different. All right. So yes, it's important to understand these things, and you can go as deep and as wide as you want to be able to go. You don't have to really think about all of these particular details. It's important to, so that you could be able to be as relatable to your audience as possible. But that's important to be able to speak directly to them and understand the demographic of people that majority that you wrote this book for, in a sense. Okay. Number 3 is desires and wants. What does your audience member want? What does your reader want in life? What are they trying to achieve as a part of the season? I truly believe that seasons continue to repeat themselves over and over again until the chapters are closed, right? Until, you know how you've had a book that you've probably been on that same chapter for a while. You can't move on as a part of life until that chapter is closed, okay? So when you think about what chapter they're trying to close and the next one that they're trying to get to, that's what you're going to be writing towards and helping them get to that next step. Then their challenges and their pain points, kind of going back to that question that we asked earlier. What are they struggling with? What I wrote down here is write down 3 to 5 challenges and pain points that they're experiencing. Okay. Write these things down so that you could be able to understand these things. And then the last thing is objections and frequently asked questions. What are reasons that they're not stopping? All right. Like, or they're not starting their process, or what are the reasons why they're probably still in this same place in life? What's really going on in their life? Okay. Then what are the frequently asked questions that they're asking? I probably get the same questions all the time in regards to like this book process. I was literally in the barbershop earlier and someone asked the question. I was like, you need to hop on to the live tonight because I'm going to be talking about determining your goals, like how to start your writing journey. So I understand it because I get these questions, but as you continue to get these questions, whether people are asking you for advice or, you know, through your career, or even if you were frequently asking those questions, I want you to think about those things and document those questions as well. And again, if you guys have any questions as a part of this process, I know we're about 30 minutes in, I'm getting ready to land this plane, but ask those questions here tonight so that I can be able to answer your questions as a part of these 2 steps, as a part of part 1 of this series. So when you think about all of those things. I got homework for you guys. All right. I have homework for you guys as a part of this part, part one of a 4-part series. I want you to tune in next week because we're going to be coming back on here at 8 p.m. again next Tuesday. But as a part of this 4-part series, I want you to do 2 things. Number one is I want you to write down your income related goals and your impact related goals. Okay. I want you to write down, what are my income related goals and what are my impact related goals? Who am I trying to make a difference in their lives, and where am I trying to make, how am I trying to make dollars? And then number 2 is I want you to create a character and then go through the 5 components of your audience so that you can be able to understand the type of reader that is going to be engaging with the content of your book. Once you have those 2 things, I believe that you're going to be able to set the foundation for next week when we're going to be talking about building your framework and then being able to plan your content. Okay. So what questions do we have? I'm going to stay on here for a few more seconds to see if we have any questions. But again, I put it up there earlier. I want you to go to thewritersgame.com, and join the waitlist. Join the waitlist. It's, we've created something for you guys that is going to change your life. It really is going to change so many lives and put so many stories into communities, into schools, into workplaces. And we're going to help you leverage your story in a very intentional way so that you can go off and change lives in the future in your communities and around the world. All right. Again, my name is Kyle King. I'm the founder and CEO of The Writer's Game, 7-time published author. And my newest book, The Writer's Game, The Business Behind Your Story, is going to help you do these steps. All right. It's going to help you unpack your story. It's going to help you write it, publish it, and then go off and launch it and potentially make $500,000 within the next 12 to 24 months from leveraging your story. I want you to go back and like or subscribe to our channel. I want you to like this video or comment a question under this video, and I will answer it as quickly as I see it. All right. So I love you guys so much. I appreciate you guys engaging with me tonight, even though we had a little dog barking in the back, but he's actually a big dog barking in the back. But tune in next Tuesday at 7 p.m. across channels. We will see you guys next week. Love you guys and have an amazing evening. See you.